When you talk to your cat, she's probably thinking something completely different than what you believe. Cat owners love to argue about whether our kitties actually understand what we say or not. The truth lies somewhere in between. They don't understand your language, but instead, something far more important to them. Scientists have conducted fascinating experiments showing how cats decode our voices, and the results are truly surprising. Today, you'll discover how your cat really perceives you, and why your tone of voice tells her more than 1,000 words ever could. After this video, you'll probably never talk to your cat the same way again. Almost every cat owner talks to their cat, while feeding, while cuddling, or simply because you think, she understands me. But do we only do it out of habit? Or are we maybe making a huge mistake? Cats don't listen to our words like humans do. They listen to patterns, to sounds, repetitions, and most of all, to tone of voice. When you call your cat's name, she doesn't recognize it because she understands its meaning, but because she has learned, that sound concerns me. Or, when that's called out, something good often follows. Or the other way around. Many owners say no when their cat does something forbidden. The cat sometimes reacts, but not because she understands no. It's because your voice in that moment sounds harsh and threatening. This leads to a strange phenomenon. Some cats react so precisely to certain words that it looks as though they actually understand language. In reality, they're only hearing a kind of musical pattern combined with your body language and facial expression. And that's exactly where the illusion of communication is born. We believe the cat understands us, but in truth, she's only mirroring what she feels. At least, that's what science says. But let me add one interesting thought. Are we humans really so different? If someone is cooking for you and suddenly calls, "Dinner," are we really processing the content of that information? Or does the word dinner with a growling stomach almost instinctively make us get up and head toward the kitchen? Not so different from our furry friends, is it? But it's different when it comes to names. Cats, unlike humans, have no self-awareness in the narrow sense. They couldn't say, "My name is Felix. I am a cat, like the others here." But that kind of self-awareness is necessary to actually assign a name to oneself. But one fascinating question remains. If cats don't understand our words, why do they sometimes react as if they understood us perfectly? The answer lies deep within the secret language of cats, a language they developed solely for us. To understand why cats sometimes seem as if they understand us, we first have to look at how cats communicate with each other. Cats are silent hunters. In the wild, they avoid unnecessary sounds so as not to alert prey or enemies. That's why they barely talk to one another. Instead, they use body language and sense. A gently curved tail might mean, "Everything's fine." A tense stare means, "Don't come too close." And pheromone scents reveal whose territory belongs to whom. These signals are as clear to cats as words are to us. But here comes the essential part. The famous meow we all know. Cats essentially never use with each other. An adult tomcat would never constantly call out meow to another cat. That sound is an invention for us humans. If it appears at all between cats, it's usually when they've grown so accustomed to meowing at humans that they occasionally slip it out even when only other cats are around. But that's an extremely rare phenomenon. Researchers suspect when cats began living with humans thousands of years ago, they adapted their communication to us. They realized humans respond very strongly to sounds and developed a sort of special code to communicate with us. So when your cat seems to interact directly with you, she's not using our language, and not even her own language. She's using the language she created specifically for you. But what is she really trying to tell us with these sounds? Are her meows just random? Or is there a clear plan behind them? In fact, this has already been scientifically studied, because scientists around the world also wanted to know, how much do cats really understand of us? They conducted experiments, with fascinating results. A team in Japan played cats' audio recordings. First, the owner said the cat's name. Then 3 strangers said the same name. Finally, the owner spoke again. The cats hardly moved their heads, but their ears gave everything away. Only when it was the owner did they turn slightly toward him. This shows cats can clearly distinguish voices, but here's where it gets exciting. Although the cat clearly recognizes her human, she often doesn't run over immediately. Why? Because cats, unlike dogs, are not animals that display submissiveness. Since they don't live in fixed packs with strict hierarchies, there's no need for it. On the contrary, such submissiveness would mean losing out on territory and mating opportunities. That's why cats usually appear outwardly calm, even when they're inwardly very attentive. Other experiments went even further. Researchers spoke to cats in a friendly tone, then in an angry tone. The cats reacted immediately. They purred when the voice was gentle and withdrew when it was angry. This proves cats don't just hear words, but above all, emotions. Our tone of voice is like a window into our mood. They don't primarily hear what we say, they recognize how we feel while saying it. They've perfected this ability over thousands of years. One reason why we can never truly fool our cats. But all these findings lead to an even bigger question. If cats hear our feelings, recognize our voices, and have even developed their own language just for us, what do they really think when we talk to them? Imagine listening to a song in a foreign language. You don't understand a single word, but you can still feel whether it sounds happy, sad, or angry. That's exactly how your cat hears you. Let's try it briefly. What emotion does this Polish song convey to you? Is it anger? Aggression? And what about this one? Maybe comfort or love? And how about this one? Would you say funny, silly, or quirky fits best? That's why this metaphor might be the best way to understand what cats hear when we talk to them. For them, your words are like music. She recognizes rhythms, moods, restlessness, or calm. But the meaning of most words remains a mystery, just like for you. When you learn the Polish lyrics actually said, "My life is a sausage, but I'd rather have fish." Researchers found when you speak in a soft, high-pitched voice, it gives your cat a sense of safety. It reminds her of the sounds her mother made when she was still a kitten. Deep, harsh voices, on the other hand, sound like a warning signal to cats. Caution, danger. That explains why cats sometimes react instantly, even though you haven't given any specific command. They read your voice like a mood barometer. But now comes the most surprising part. Cats don't see us as humans in the classic sense, but they also don't think that we are cats. They simply have no category for human. So they apply their own familiar scheme. They treat us as if we were extremely large cats, who just don't get it at all when they try to communicate with us the way they've learned. That doesn't mean your cat believes you have whiskers or pointy ears. It simply means she interprets our gestures, our closeness, our sounds through the filter of her own instincts. When you pet her, she doesn't see you as her owner, but rather as a kind of caring protector, similar to a mother cat. If you scold too often, however, you quickly become a moody, unpredictable safety risk best to be avoided. Cats always, and without exception, read between the lines. It's not what you say that matters, but how you say it. Maybe you've already had a situation where you texted someone on WhatsApp and there was a huge misunderstanding. Not because of what was written, but because the lack of facial expression, gestures, and vocal tone made something come across completely differently than intended. Now, if you realize that cats don't communicate with words at all, but exclusively through facial expression, gestures, and tone of voice, it becomes clear how important it is how we talk to our cats, so that what we say to our furry companions is truly what they receive. But one last fascinating question arises. If cats see us so differently, how do they perceive the rest of the world? Their eyes, their ears, their sense of smell work completely differently from ours, and that changes their entire reality. The answer is so exciting that we've dedicated an entire video to it. Click the displayed image to watch it next.